Hey everyone, it's Joanna with Flair Interactive. I'm here tonight, doing a content presentation. Work smarter, not harder, creating content quickly, effectively, and efficiently. And we work with a lot of clients at Flair who kind of stumble and trip up on their content, and they feel like it's super daunting and overwhelming. And we get that, it can be. But the good news is it doesn't necessarily have to be. If you are not using the help of a digital marketing agency or a professional blogger or somebody to step in and help you in that role. If you're a smaller marketing department, or if you just don't have the resources to put towards marketing dollars in your content side, you can do some things that are very effective and don't necessarily take up too much of your time. So we're going to look through several things. I'm going to throw a lot at you. Elite members, remember that you're getting 2 different templates today as part of the presentation. You will get an editorial calendar template that we'll look at in a little bit, and then also a high level content map that's super, super effective and fun and easy to create multiple pieces of content in a very short amount of time. So tonight we're going to look at just how important is content anyway? Do you really need it? Short answer is yes. We'll talk about why. We'll go through that editorial content that the calendar that I just talked about. You'll learn how to plan, organize, and implement a calendar that works for you and your business. We'll look at different types of blogs, different formats. There's dozens and dozens of ways you can get content out there. We'll talk about a formal content promotion plan because one of the things that we love to say is if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So your promotion plan is a checkoff list that puts everything into motion for you. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Look at some SEO best practices for content. A lot of our clients, spend a lot of time and effort and energy and resources producing content, but they don't necessarily know some of the best practices, which without them prevent your content from succeeding. So we'll look at some of those. We'll show you our top 5 favorite do-it-yourself ways that you can use content. And we'll give some shout out to those people that we love and listen to that we recommend that you follow. And then we're going to do a bonus 30 blog post ideas in 30 minutes. And that's just a quick exercise I'll walk you through, and you can take it and use it at your own company. All right. So before we get into it, and I try to convince you how to use your content, I think it's important that we talk about why you need content anyway. Is it really important? They used to say content is king. That's a super played out phrase now, and I know we're all tired of hearing it, but it is true that content is important. In fact, 55% of marketers say that their blog is their top inbound marketing strategy. Inbound marketing is the new and very effective way of marketing to your audience that is, different than the old school way of going out and cold calling and throwing it all out there and hoping that it sticks. It's the opposite. It's finding where your audience is, what they do, what they read, what social platforms they look at, and then producing content that is effective and useful for them in ways that they will find it on places and platforms that they'll find it. 70% of marketers are actively investing in content marketing right now. If it wasn't working, they wouldn't be doing it. So I think that stat says a lot. WordPress users produce about 70 million new posts every single month with 77 million new comments. 4 out of 5 sites include a blog. If you're not one of them, that's definitely something we're going to talk you through tonight and show you how to implement and use to your advantage. Businesses that blog attract 55% more traffic than businesses that don't. 55%. Can you imagine if you had 55% increase in your traffic over the next year? 47% of consumers read 3 to 5 blog posts before they make a buying decision. That means that they are actively seeking out content, 3 to 5 different pieces of content. That could be video, that could be email, that could be social posts, reviews, blogs, product descriptions on your pages. And that's before they make their decision. So if you don't have it for them, they're not going to find you. Companies that blog 15 times a month or more tend to get 5 times more traffic. So that's a commitment to, 3 to 5 pieces of content a week. You're getting 5 times more traffic. Companies that increase their blogging from 3 to 5 times a month to 6 to 8 times a month. I mean, we're talking per month here, almost double their qualified leads. 77% of companies say that they have a content marketing strategy. That is the majority of companies out there right now are invested in content marketing. So why are so many of these brands investing this much time, this much money, this much effort into their content? The answer is really actually simpler than you may think. It works. One of the first things that you want to do before you even jump in and make this commitment to doing your content regularly and efficiently is you want to plan, organize, and implement. So a really quick, easy formula. This works for all content. It works in any industry. It's a 5-factor formula. It takes literally 5 minutes to start. And all you have to do is decide 5 different things. You want to know when you'll publish. You want to know who is going to be your author, if you're going to outsource that, or if it's a marketing person within your company. If you've hired or outsourced a freelance writer, if you have subject matter experts within your company who will take on some content for you. You also want to decide on what type of content. And you'll notice in this drop down here that you can preload all the different types of content. And it's very easy for you to then just choose what you're going to do for this piece. So types of content: checklist posts, case studies, guide posts, facts, holiday posts. I mean, you could list anything in here that would be a type of post that you would be writing about. Decide what format you're going to use, if it's text, audio, video, or images. For your category, this would be industry specific or company specific. For us at Flair, 3 categories we regularly write on are SEO, digital marketing, and inbound marketing. You always want to figure out what CTA, and that's call to action, you're going to offer. Every piece of content you send out should have some sort of what next. Your reader, your audience has invested their time reading and absorbing this information. So give them the next steps. Let them know what you want them to do. Do you want them to download an ebook? Do you want them to reach out for a demo? Do you want them to contact us? I mean, it can be very simple. Do you want to direct them to another blog post that has further information? So for us, some of the CTAs we regularly use are, reach out for a consultation, download some premium content, reach out for a website analysis. That's something we offer, or, a simple contact us. And then the last thing you're going to do is come up with the headline. Now, I say that's the last thing you're going to do because that is a little bit more involved. So I have a score column here, and every single piece of content that we publish at Flair, we look at the score. And there are tools you can use. Co-Scheduler's got a great one. It's free. It gives you great tips. You can enter a headline. You want the score to be 70 or above. 68 is okay. It gives you a nice little color-coded score. Red is terrible, green is best. So you can kind of play around with it, and you'll start to get a feel for what types of headlines work best. Things that tend to be attention grabbers are, they did this. What did they do? I want to know. Or how-tos are great. Or, did you know? Ultimate SEO checklists. Anything checklist. People love checklists. Those always tend to do well. How being inspired leads to more sales. So once you have this, you can move into a more detailed and thoughtful editorial calendar that will be more specific to your needs. Remember, if you signed up for an elite membership to this summit, you're getting this template to use. So now I did mention that there was another step to the process, and that's the full editorial calendar. And that can be more detailed. You can list out emails that you want to tie to content. You can list out what social posts you want to do. If you want to do paid ads, press releases, the blog is going to be the cornerstone of your content for any of your creation efforts. And every blog, really important, you want to tie to a campaign. You want to promote all of your blog posts on social. The whole "if you build it, they will come" analogy does not work with content. You need to build it and then promote it and sell it and get it out there to where your audience will be so that they can find it. Premium content could be anything like an ebook, an infographic, a white paper, a case study, a tip sheet. Audio and video both do very well. And then interactive content, if you've ever been on like a mortgage website or a software website and they say, take this quiz to know if you need to upgrade, or what would your interest rate on this new car be? those types of quizzes and calculators and interactive things where people are giving you information in exchange for an output to let them know, to help them solve their problem. That's very, very effective. And remember, you're getting this too if you're an elite member. So next, I want to talk to you about the different types of blogs and formats. We saw that drop down. There were many, many different types, dozens of types of content. What do they mean? How do you use them? Are some better than others? This is a really great resource we use a lot at Flair. We refer it out all the time. It's a digital marketer piece. I mentioned in the agenda that I would be going over some shouts out. Digital marketer is on that list. We love them. We use them all the time. We are digital marketer partners. So this is a great piece that we recommend. It talks about how to be useful and all the different types of blog posts that you can use to be useful. FAQs, series, ultimates, checklists, how-tos. Lists do very well. And I won't go through all of these right now, but you can find this digital marketer infographic, and it goes on and on and on, several pages long, and it gives you all different. If you ever think like, I don't know what to write, I don't have anything to write, this is a great tool. Okay, so your content promotion plan is, once you have a piece of content and you've published it, these are all the different things you can do to get that out there. And do you need to do all of them for every single piece of content? No. Should you do a large percentage of them? Perhaps. You should do what makes sense. If it's something that's timely and it's a holiday post or a promotion you're running that's timely, time sensitive due to the time of the year, or something, a sale that will end, do what you can. Always work backwards and figure that you need to do multiple different promotional steps so that you can get your piece seen. If you were doing a blog post, you should definitely be promoting those blog posts on social, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. For this particular client, we're running a promotion for them, and they are a software company. So, Pinterest and Instagram aren't necessarily their platforms that they utilize. But, if you are a more creative or have something more visual, then those are definitely great platforms to use as well. Paid ads, we're seeing a huge increase in paid ads with Facebook and LinkedIn. Facebook is cheaper. LinkedIn's a little bit more expensive, neither as expensive as AdWords. And we have a lot of clients who come to us who have been scared off by AdWords, and it's a great tool if you know how to use it. But if you don't, you can be throwing thousands and thousands of dollars away by not using it appropriately. Okay, creating your CTAs, that should be for every piece of content. Email should be for almost every piece of content. There's always exceptions to the rules, but this is a good idea of all the different ways that you can promote. That's more than just putting it on the blog and hoping that it gets traction. So, SEO best practices. I talked in my intro about how we have clients who write the content, they put in the work, they put in the time, they put in the research, they probably are paying somebody to write it, and they post on their blog and it doesn't do anything. And there are multiple reasons why that could be happening. One of them is it wasn't promoted past just the publishing, but there's some other best practices that Google likes, and let's face it, we're all doing what Google likes these days. So you need to be writing unique titles, descriptions, and content. We don't want to be writing the same of any of those things, and I'll talk a little bit more about what a title and a description is in a minute. But just to kind of give you a brief overview, you also want to make sure that they are optimized. And when we talk about optimized, we're talking about keywords. And back in the day, 10, 15 years ago, there were some sort of unethical or not great ways that people were optimizing their content and using keywords, and those days are long gone. Google's way too smart for that. You're not going to pull one over on them. You need to be doing authentic, truly useful and valuable keyword implementation. So basically what that means is, what are people searching for? What are they typing into that Google search bar when they're looking for something that you offer, a service or a product? And then you need to use those in your content. And keyword research is a whole separate topic. I could do another 30 minutes on just that. But you definitely should have that done. You should have, your buyer persona, which is what type of audience you're looking for. At Flair, we have a marketing persona that we write to a lot. We also have a small business owner that we write to a lot. And basically, your buyer personas are your fictional characters who are the typical person that would find your product or service useful. So you're writing to them, and you want to know what they are typing into Google to find you. Your title, tag, and your description are pieces of meta that are useful for both your user and for Google. So we're going to talk about lengths. Titles should be 50 to 60 characters, not words. So when you click, right click and go to the word count, you want to look for characters. Description should be 50 to 160 characters, again, not words. Content, that really depends. Here we are talking words. Emails, there's no true hard and fast rule on an email. It should be long enough to be useful. Very, very long is obviously not good. Nobody likes to read terribly long emails. Blogs should be at least 300 words. That's kind of the minimum piece of content. There are, again, of course, exceptions to the rules, but most of the time, if you have hundreds or even dozens of pages on your content or on your site that have less than 300 words, you're going to start being dinged for what's known as thin content, and Google doesn't like that. Your content should be relevant, it should be useful, it should be detailed and deep. Your primary keyword is really what each piece of content is based around. It's written around. And again, back in the old days, that whole keyword stuffing thing is not what we're doing anymore. It should be authentic. It should be used usefully and appropriately and not too many times. But it should be used early in the content. And really that's so that when those, Google spiders are crawling that page, they can pick up the keyword. That's so that when somebody is typing in the Google search bar, they're using the keyword that is in your content. Those two things should meet in the middle. You don't want to use the same titles or descriptions on every single page. You really want to have unique both titles and descriptions for every single page on your website. Every single blog should have its own, every single internal web page. Links and CTs, best practice would be to open those in a new tab. And when you insert a hyperlink into your content, there's an option either in Yoast or in WordPress or in HubSpot where you can click open a new tab. And the key here is you just don't want users going away from your site. You want something to open up in a separate tab so they can easily get back to your site just by clicking the tab over. You don't want them to have to be going back because chances are they won't if they leave. Make sure that you are not using, we see this a lot, that whole click here or read more or, download now. The download one is still sometimes okay, but you really want keyword rich anchor text. So instead of saying, read this blog about this topic for more information, instead of this blog, the title of the blog, which ideally is keyword rich, linked to the actual piece of content is the best practice. And we've already talked about including CTAs. You always want to give, what's the next step? Do you want them to reach out to you? Where are they at in their buying journey? Are they needing more information? If so, you want to give them more information, which would be another blog or a premium downloadable. And CTAs, they can just be read more about XYZ on our blog we wrote. It's a terrible example, but you get what I mean. And they could also be, that's a linked CTA, that's a linked text. It's going to go to another place using a word link. You also want to use visual CTAs, and you'll notice that a lot of buttons that you see where it says download or access or get more information. So visual CTAs are very effective. And you can use both. At the bottom of the Flair blogs, we use both a linked text CTA, and then we also do a button CTA. Emails, same concept. Images, I can't tell you how many clients we have that when we start working on their content for them, they've got tons of great images, but they do not have alt tags, and Google doesn't like that. Think of alt tags as a written description of what the image is. Google can't see what your images are, but it can read about them. So you want to have everything alt tagged. And if you're using any sort of SEO tools, you will be flagged for that and potentially dinged. So, we use a tool here and it does flag and lets us know, hey, this image is missing an alt tag, it's easy to go in and fix. You update it, and then that flag goes away. Yoast is a really underused tool. I think it's great. I'm going to show you a couple screenshots of what it can offer you to keep all of this in mind, because I'm throwing a ton at you right now, but I'm going to show you how you can check these on the next slide. So, you don't need to be frantically writing down everything I'm showing you. I'm going to show you a couple different tools that are really useful. Cross-linking is super important. You want to be linking to other authoritative sites, and then you also want to be linking to other sites within your own, other pages within your own site. So if you're writing a blog and you know that you wrote a blog 6 months ago about a similar topic, it is great for you to go and link back and forth between those two pieces of content. Google loves that. And then you could, go back to the original piece and say, updated information on e-commerce in the holiday season, and link to the new piece of content as well. Another great thing to do, best practice thing to do, would be to connect any of your blogs or high-level content to internal web pages. So if you have a software page or a product page and you're writing a blog that relates to it, link to that page on your website. And lastly, H1s and H2s. You should have an H1 on every single piece of content. It should be optimized. That's sort of your title of the page. So if we were looking at this as a web page, this would be my H1. It should be prominent. It should be bigger. Most back ends, when you're entering like WordPress, there is an H1 drop down that you can assign a line of content to, and it will automatically make it larger, make it bold, and then the search engines know that this is the H1 tag, and they would know that this page of content is about SEO best practices. And actually, that would probably be my keyword for this page too. Okay, so when we talk about titles of each page, every single page on your website, on your blog, should have a title. And these are also known as meta titles. They're sometimes called title tags. They're called page titles or just a title. And when you type in what is a meta title, or haircuts near me, or where can I buy a puppy, the results that you get on your Google page, this is results 1, 2, 3, 4. I cut out the ads that were at the top because those are paid for and not necessarily authentic or organic results. Most people do scroll past those ads too. So here is your tag. So your title is right here. Title tags 2020, best practices by Moz, beginner's guide to writing title tags and meta descriptions, how to write meta. So these are the first 4 results. If you type in this, what is meta title? A couple notes about these. These are always clickable, which I'm sure you know. Everybody's seen these Google search results. They're what's displayed in the SERP, the search engine results page. Obviously, the higher you are on the page, the better. You want to be, on page 1. Those first 10 positions are gold. That's, when you know you've made it, is when your content makes it to that page 1. They should be short and accurate. They're basically a description that's of what's found on the page. So meta titles are used in SERPs, which is search engine result pages, which we just looked at, and they're also used in web browsers. So you could see this is the same. Title tags 2020 SEO best practices by Moz, and title tags 2020 SEO best practices. And these are the little tabs. So if we had another tab, there would be another title. And you enter these when you enter, upload content to the back end of your site. They should be 50 to 60 characters. Why? So that they display properly. If they're too long, they'll be cut off. And you can use a tool. I mentioned to you that there are tons of tools out there for you, like those. They have, this, you can enter it in, and I show you an example. You just enter it and hit check, and I show you what that looks like right on the next page. Remember, you don't want to optimize, or you want to optimize, but you don't want to stuff your keywords. So make it logical. It should be the way people speak, and Google likes that. They'll reward you for that. And unique titles for every page. So, home page, not great. Flair Interactive Digital Marketing Agency, that's much better. Products page, Flair services, Flair offers, that's better. When you're in doubt, think about, would you click this if this was a title that you were looking at? That's a great, telltale of how useful or how relative your title will be. Okay, back to that Moz tool. So it's very easy. I typed in what is in my catalog management and sales, which is a piece of content that we have done for a client. Shout out to Freestyle. And you can see it gives you an example of what it will look like once it's loaded and live. So you want this little character here and the title of the company. And this was a blog that we did for them, catalog management and sales, 3 things to know. So you can see it fits, it looks nice. And that's the Moz tool. Another tool that you could use is the Yoast SEO Premium tool. And I love Yoast. It's at the bottom of your WordPress page. It works for pages and for blogs as well. So for internal web pages and as well as blogs. And it gives you these handy little, green happy faces to let you know everything's great. Your content's going to perform well. SEO, readability, and social. So your focus key phrase you always want to assign. We assigned catalog management. This was a blog we did. I wanted to check how it was going to look on desktop. I entered the SEO title here. This is where you enter it, and it gives you a kind of a preview up here. And then a meta description. And we're going to talk a little bit more about descriptions in a second. So you could see my focus keyword was catalog management. We had said earlier we wanted that to be at the front of the title, and here it is at the front. Oh, sorry. And we wanted it at the beginning of the meta description, and here it is. So catalog management is needed if you plan to use catalog sales, an effective sales channel. Freestyle can help you. Okay, meta description. So that was that little blurb that I read on the bottom. So meta descriptions offer a brief summary. They explain site pages and blog pages. And if you were to Google, again, going back to our what is a meta description example, here, this little section underneath the title, it is generally not clickable, but these down here are. The actual description that you're writing is not. It gives you a description of what the page is about. And the 2 things that meta descriptions do, they inform the search engines what your page is about, but better than that, they inform your users what your page is about. So they're going to kind of skim this if they like the title, and if the description is what they were looking for, they're more likely to click on it. All right, some best practices for descriptions. They can be a little bit longer than the titles. Obviously, there's more room. They can actually be, honestly, as long as you want. However, they will cut off, and you can see that they're cutting off here. So this one, it's truncated, and then this one, it is the full description that they wrote. So 50 to 160 characters is ideal, and it will be, cut off if you go much over that. You want to think of this as ad copy, or kind of, selling the piece of content, so to speak. This is, they're reading the tag before they're investing in reading the actual content. You'll notice that your keywords that you assigned to the page are going to be bolded. So the keyword here is meta description. This is what the user really wants the heart of their content results to be about. And you can see meta description, meta description, meta description. And that really draws the reader's eye to a certain point of the description. So, and of course you want to avoid duplicates. Every page should have its own. And a quick little side note, don't use double quotes in your descriptions, because that's a signal to Google to cut it off. So wherever you open a quote, that's where the end of your description will be. All right, so 5 of our favorite do-it-yourself pieces of content that we love would be a content audit. And this is just combing through your website and sort of assessing where you're at. Have you been blogging for years and years and years, but you haven't really done anything with that content? Then you're in a great position, because then you can repurpose all that content. You can pull it up, refresh it, revamp it. If some of it's outdated, update it, and you can reuse it. And so as long as it's fresh and new and it's relevant and appropriate or accurate, reuse that content. So list out everything you have, every ebook you've ever done, every webinar, every infographic, every blog post, and you really want to categorize those by either your verticals or when we were looking back at that high value or high quick content map that we looked at the very beginning, you know, we had digital marketing, we had inbound marketing, we had SEO. So kind of organize your content by either vertical or topic, and then you can repurpose and promote what you already have used. The editorial calendar, we talked about that. Remember, you can get that if you have the all access pass. And the editorial calendar is great for curating and recurring content, case studies. When we talk about curating, you can find something that an industry leader has posted somewhere else, and you can repost it, reshare it, obviously giving credit. You don't want to just take their content and then present it as yours, but you know, reposting on social is a great way to forge relationships with other industry leaders, and you know, people who are really thought leaders in your industry or space. And it adds value to you because it shows that you know who is a real leader, and you know who your audience should be looking up to. Video. We love video. Loom is a great tool. I'm using it right now. It's super easy. You can download it and have it up and running in, you know, like literally 5 minutes. You do not need any high-tech equipment. I'm doing this on my Mac laptop. I don't have a light ring. I don't have any special sound. I'm using my Apple headphones. So, you know, video is great. And video is actually huge right now. The number of conversions that people are getting with video is insane. And if you can use it in emails, even better. And then of course, blogging and social, we're all about that. So, okay, a couple shouts out. We love, listen to, read, absorb, read emails, download ebooks, sign up for conferences and summits and different presentations that they're doing. Neil Patel, he does Uber Suggest. It's a great free tool for you to use. You can use it for keyword research. You can use it for topic ideas. You can use it for some competitive analysis. I've talked a lot about Moz and their tool. They're a great resource. Yoast, I talked about, that was the back end. It's at the bottom of your WordPress. They also actually have a great website and tools on there that you can use. I think I showed you how to use their content or their title checker. Amy Porterfield, she's great. There are links to all of these people that we're talking about for you to kind of research and poke around and see what they have to say. Virtual summits, we're hosting our virtual summit today through them. They're great. You heard from Dr. Mark earlier, and he's amazing. HubSpot. HubSpot is an inbound tool that we are a agency partner with, and you heard from a HubSpot expert too. So Ryan Dice is from Digital Marketer. We are also partners with them. Russell Brunson, Allie Brown, Lisa Sachevich, and Josh Turner, who is the founder of Link Selling. All right, so finally, to wrap it up, this 30 blog post ideas in 30 minutes. We do this a lot at conferences when we present, and people walk away just blown away because they feel like, how could I get 30 blog posts? That's like 2 months worth of content. How can I do that in 30 minutes? No way. I promise you it's doable. And it's actually a pretty fun exercise. We've done it with small groups and, you know, at company meetings, and they walk away and are like, oh my gosh, we have so much content, let's go write. And it's cool. So the first thing you want to do, this is like 5, 6 steps, 7 steps, I think, actually, but it goes very fast. You want to write down your 3 goals that your prospects might have. These are going to be different for every company, so you need to be kind of flexible and agile with these. But for example, here at Flair, when we walked through this, all of us together, we decided, you know, we wanted to increase organic traffic, we wanted to easily maintain a website, and we wanted to get some help with our inbound marketing. After you have your goals set down, you want to come up with 10 different questions about each of those goals. So our first goal was we want to increase our organic traffic. How do we do that? So if somebody is asking why my website traffic is decreasing, what are Google's recent updates in the past year or 2 years? What can I do to increase website traffic? How does my traffic compare to my competitors? What are the best ways to increase website traffic quickly? What reports or tools should I use to monitor my traffic? How long does it take to increase website traffic? Is website traffic the most important metric? What is considered good? and how much should I be getting to meet my goals? So, again, these are going to be very different depending on your industry and your company and your goals. The next thing you're going to do is write down 10 answers. So you just did 10 questions. Now you're going to do the 10 answers. So why is my website traffic decreasing? Well, maybe Google made some changes. What are Google's recent changes? Well, Google released Panda an update. We did this a couple years ago when that was really hot topic for people, and people were really worried, concerned about those updates. What can I do to increase website traffic? Inbound marketing, blogging, social keywords. How does my traffic compare to my competitors? I could use HubSpot's competitor tools or any other industry tool that you like. What are best ways to increase website traffic quickly? I can use inbound, I can blog, I can use social media, I can check my keywords and update them if needed. I can use press releases, video, email, etc. The list goes on and on. What reports and tools should I use to monitor my traffic? For us at Flair, two of the big tools that we use are HubSpot and Google Analytics. They work together. HubSpot has a ton of really great information, and Google Analytics as well. You can measure traffic and engagement. You can track conversions. All of that's good stuff that you should be looking at if you're concerned about traffic. How long does it take to increase my website? We wanted to be realistic with our goals. If you're unrealistic with your goals, you're not going to meet them, and you're going to end up frustrated and giving up. So 6 months minimum, that's a reasonable goal. In 6 months, we could probably start to expect to see some, some traction and some improvement. Is traffic the most important thing? Should I be looking at that? Yes, it is important, but what we like to think of it as is a vanity metric, which means, it's great to say that we have 5,000 people a day coming to our website. But what if they're not doing anything? It's just 5,000 people at your website. So who cares? More important to us is the engagement. So we don't care if, I'd rather have 25 people come that all download something and that reach out for more information or request a demo or, request a sales call than, having thousands who do nothing. All right, what is considered a good amount of traffic? That's going to widely vary and depend. There's no one answer for that. And how much traffic should I be getting to meet my goals? Well, it depends on what your goals are. So once you've written down your questions and you've answered them, step 4 is going to be which specifics you want to identify, going back to those calls to action, which services and products do you provide that relate to each of your answers? So I just did a couple. Our first question was, why is my website decreasing? Google was making changes as the answer. Oh, well, how can I help people with that? Well, products that we offer would be webinars and ebooks. And what are Google's recent updates? Well, Google at this time had released Panda and Penguin. What types of services could we be offering? Well, we could do an assessment of your website. We could do a free consultation. We could do a blueprint. So you get the idea. Question, answer, and then you're going to identify and kind of align what type of product or service you offer currently that would relate to these problems to help you meet your goal. Steps 5, 6, and 7 are very easy. 5 is just do this for your other 2 goals. Remember, we did 3 goals at the beginning. Step 6, begin to write or assign. At the end of this, you're going to have 30 different article ideas. And that's when you can go back to that high level content map, and you can start assigning out who in your organization is going to take ownership on these different topics. Remember to create an editorial calendar, because once you have 30 pieces of content coming in and out, it's going to be very hard to keep track of very quickly. And a content editorial calendar helps you identify and keep track of everything. Specifically, or most importantly, would be your specific publish date. And lastly, step 7 is reassess everything at the very end of this process. And as you start implementing and content starts going live, and kind of figure out, this is a great opportunity for you to see, what's working, what's not, where do you need to course correct, and move forward from there. All right, so if you want to continue this conversation, we'd love to talk to you more. A lot of what we do at Flair is help clients with content, and we would love to help you. So you can reach out to us at the website, which is www.flairinteractive.com. You can reach out to Lisa, who's our managing director. You could always reach out to me. I'm the digital marketing manager there, and our email addresses are here. And thanks so much for spending your time with me.
Hi, everyone. We are getting close to wrapping up the end of our day for our one-day summit here. We have another session coming up in about 20 minutes, and that is my closing session. And that's about kind of putting together a solid digital marketing strategy for the remainder of 2020. So you can take a quick break, maybe grab some dinner, and then we'll see you at the summit page or on our social channels in about 20 minutes. Thanks, everyone. And thanks, Joanna, for your great presentation.